Um, if you're new, hi. If you've been here for a while, welcome back and thank you for watching. For continuing watching. Um, I'm going to be continuing on my fandom talk of stuff that's helped cultivate me. That helped make me who I am today. Um, this is a very big one for the internet. I feel like we are kind of moving into the phase of less of stuff that was kind of given to me by friends and family, and more so I get introduced to by the internet. I'm not going to be talking about YouTubers because I feel like there's so many, and like there's always the case of you follow one person, you love them when you were a kid, and you find out later when you grow up either that they're terrible people or they're leaving. So it yeah, not gonna really focus on that. I'm sure there's other people that have worked on like the legacy and whatnot of of these big YouTubers. But FNAF was definitely a big moment in internet history, I guess is the best way to put it. Definitely in YouTube. Absolutely in YouTube. YouTube, I I wouldn't say necessarily got bigger. It was in like that pinpoint time where it was going to get bigger anyway because of the way that they where Google had bought it and were adjusting to basically make it bigger and bigger. But FNAF was in that perfect time period where the gaming community was able to basically skyrocket into more people's eyes. And I didn't find it myself on YouTube. I saw culturally around me from my friends. So I guess I did find it through friends. But basically, I was hearing about the FNAF stuff, and I dipped my toes into the fandom side, particularly into the songs, because that's the stuff that YouTube introduced me to, and so, some songs still are amazing. Some songs in my eyes, like it was a time period type of thing. This car is really hot. Well, oh my gosh, you're still rolling. Sorry about that. Um, I'm holding the phone and stuck in a car and can't quite just casually open the door because there's people outside. So yeah, gonna keep going. Uh, I made this huge convoluted list. Gonna mark it down a bit so I could get it under wraps. The funny thing was I started already, so there's already check marks in some spots, even though I had to redo it again because the video cut out the last time I was making this, and I couldn't finish the dang video because that's when family started coming home, and that's when I my attention needed to be brought to other places. So, how do I put this? Okay. Okay. So, first game came out, and it definitely brought like a new era into the horror game industry. I've seen people talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But I, for the first game to me, was amazing because it was not only because it was unique, but because the way to get scared wasn't outdone. It was a new that's literally going along with lines of unique. It was trending, so I at the time was very much a trend follower in the sense of I quietly followed trends. I didn't necessarily broadcast myself. But I absolutely loved the concept of cuz I was grown up on Chuck E. Cheese. Particularly my family was so poor. The big birthday treat was that the family would get to go to Chuck E. Cheese. That was like the big like happy birthday event that happened in our lives. And that was like in my beginning years. There's one year where I was able to get my school to invite my school to Chuck E. Cheese. Only happened once. After that, never again. Never even went back to Chuck E. Cheese. I think it was just so expensive for them that they were like, okay, we can't do this again. So, but I, so I guess in that sense, I loved it because it got me to connect with him in my childhood. Because, when you're a certain age, you look at everything else in your past as your childhood. So even though I was a teen and still technically a child, I was looking back on my childhood, and uh, it it was so nice. Especially marking that down as I put down on here. I got attached to the character Bonnie. So everyone was kind of picking out their favorites in the beginning. Most of the time, guys liked Chica because this is so girl, and the internet did what the internet does. And a lot of people liked Freddy because he was the main character, and he also did all these unique, scary stuff in the first game. Oh my gosh! And whatchamacallit? Foxy was considered the cool one because he had his own separate spot. He ran, had more sounds, and I feel like in the fandom wise, he could do a lot with his character story, like creating lore or creating like fan fiction, basically, or your own universe. So but for some reason I attached to Bonnie because he felt like the underdog, and I had I felt like I was the underdog all of my childhood, and my favorite color was purple at the time, and Bonnie was purple, and he was also the first one introduced and purposely wasn't scary. Like, it was like to help be a tutorial thing. And I know a while back there's like this thing called the Duff. I'm not sure if it's still like a social thing where basically there's a one individual that helps integrate other people into the group. And for my chaotic friend group, I was that because I seemed like the sweet, decent, normal one that still loved all the quirky stuff, but then in turn I could get people to join into my friend group. That's how it very much felt like. I wasn't close. Well, I did never felt like I was close to anyone, but some people did try, but it always felt like for the wrong reasons. Or just to not I'm not gonna get into that. Not here. Not here. But basically, what I'm trying to say is I totally bonded with Bonnie in that sense because he was the first. He was the first guy. He wasn't necessarily the showrunner, but that what also drew me to him because he was the underdog. Literally, you said that. So I put down on here, quote unquote, coward as creator states fear of him, but to me that was just more of the he's afraid of the quiet kid, and I I it made me appreciate Bonnie more when I saw that, because I was like I was a silent ride for die for Bonnie, but I never told anyone about it. I was just like, out of the whole group, he's the one I'm gonna pick because he's literally not only that, but as I wrote down in here, second game, they he just keep, stuff just keeps getting worse and worse and worse for him, and it felt like my life, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor dude cannot catch a break. I am rooting for him to be able to do something, get somewhere. No, the creator just is so scared of him or doesn't like him as much, so he keeps just getting beat up, I guess, in a sense. But I'm still rooting for him. I'm still rooting for him. Okay. Then oh, second game. I loved it for lore reasons, not necessarily for the game itself. I thought it was nice, like, oh yay, there's more content, there's more to add, there's new characters. But I was more interested in the lore aspect and the story, because that's kind of my thing. I love more the storylines with when it comes to stuff. It's hot in here. Apologies if I just. But I loved it. I wasn't necessarily. It wasn't as big a phenomenon in my eyes as the first game was, and but I wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is terrible because they're trying to extend it yet. And then there's game theory. How thank you, Matt Pat, for all those years. But I was already following him before. He went down a rabbit hole of FNAF material. So it was fun just seeing on the sidelines how that spiraled out of chaos. Also, it was fun hearing him talk about the lore because that was literally my bread and butter. It was just story plot, lore combined together. He was starting to talk about the stuff that I loved. So, third game comes up. I feel just like everyone during that time, felt like it was the finale of the series. I'm gonna open the door for a moment. Sorry for the quiet, just don't necessarily want to be screaming out about FNAF for the whole world to hear. If they hear me, they hear it through a muffled noise of the car. They're not gonna hear me go, ah! Anyways, third game. It very much felt like that should have been the finale. We saw the kids literally leave within the game, but it still felt like it was loose enough that you could still kind of fill in like your own story, which I thought was it felt like they were purposely leaving in loose ends of like, hey, the main story plot is over, but the like in real life with real horror stuff that happens, you're not going to be able to solve everything and you just have to let it go. I thought, theme wise, that was amazing. I also thought, internet wise, it's so good for the fandom to keep thriving and creating stuff even though the story has technically ended. It could be a case of the fandom will live on and tell the story and try to figure out the story even though it's ended, and like trying to how the internet do its thing of just go over analyzing every single little detail and trying to get as much juice of the material out that they physically can. My hand is burning. Okay, as I wrote down. But wait, there's more. yeah, I put down. So I stepped out of the ring, particularly I was starting to because I figured that the story ended, I kind of cut ways with the FNAF series a bit because I wasn't seeing the fandom stuff kick in like I thought it would. And also, I saw Game Theory. I put down here lose Game Theory and FNAF, but I'm not sure exactly why. I did stop watching Game Theory, but not because of FNAF. But I guess him spiraling out of control also made me kind of stay away from him because I'm like, dude, something's going on there. I'm not sure if I want to deal with that. Some people like seeing others fall apart. Not me. There we go. Fourth game came out. I was mad. The internet kind of was too, because they were in the same boat as me of like, hey, the story ended. Why is there more? And I got so butthurt, especially with this is also the same time period that Ruby and other shows of mine that I was watching were like faltering, and I just felt like I was losing faith in everything and every franchise, becoming pessimistic. So I cut ties. And then, how do I put this? Sister Location comes out. People are starting to warm up to it. They're like, okay, there's more story, and this is a good game, and so people tried it out. I was butthurt and not willing to try to accept change because I family here just not wanting to accept it. And I thought it was going to be the end of it, that I never see the series again. And then years later, my younger sister, is talking about the lore because I'm trying to bond with my sibling, and I bring up that I watched she brought up that she was watched videos of FNAF. I brought up that I used to be big in FNAF. And then she just goes into a deep dive about the lore and new songs I've never heard of. And some of them were pretty good. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give it a try again. The fandom is what brought me into it. Maybe the fandom can help bring me back and I could see the potential in the series again. Especially the songs. The songs brought me in the first time. The songs brought me in back again the second time. And I'm like, okay, I'll give this a shot. This, from what I'm hearing at the songs, this is really good. And if they're having this good of detail in the songs, it means that the story in the games must be good. So I gave it back. Particularly, I picked up on Matt Pat and just picking up on the lore. And I'm back in the fandom. Quietly back in the fandom, not really doing that much myself. Okay. I brought up Matt Pat leaving. I'm not going to touch on that because I already made a video and I don't want to get into my feels again. See all these. Okay. Security system. That's the first game that I got so butthurt over a huge period of time. Family again. That the new game that came through that I was watching was security system. That's the time frame of when I got back into the fandom, was between the VR and that and security system. I watched people play the game. I thought it was fun. definitely not scary at all. Like, I felt like they watered it down so bad so that kids could be able to play the game. And I'm like, okay, fine. I get this. I get it. It's this case of the franchise is trying to cater to a new audience while trying to have the diehard fans stay with the lore. I'm not fully into it, but I get it. So I'm not gonna like completely cut it off. Then, the movie. Funny story. The theater in my place did have the movie, and I did desperately want to go see it, but I never had the time to do so. And came and went, missed being able to go watch it myself. My family doesn't have that much money, and we don't have all the platforms to be able to watch it naturally, so I basically got stuck in not being able to watch it. One of my siblings that doesn't live with us anymore was like, hey, yeah, we have it. When we come to visit you, we can watch it together. I got not even halfway through. I got slightly close to halfway through, and I got to see the Mad Hat scene. That was awesome. But I was not able to fully finish the series because other issues were taking place as stuff was happening, and they're basically a case that they wanted me to prioritize them over the movie, and I get it, but also at the same time, they promised me this, and I felt like they were like being butts about not keeping their promise. I've dealt with this with a lot of people, so I'm not surprised, but I was angry about it. And to this day, I haven't fully watched a whole movie. But I do plan on it. I did technically get some spoilers. I don't care that much, but I do plan on finishing the entire movie when I get the chance. And another thing I want to add on to this, the reason why it was so influential for me is not only because it kind of shaped a bit of my teenager years, but also one of my first stories I initially made that I still am working on that's completely different from FNAF now was inspired off of FNAF. Particularly, I had 5 characters, the main cast of FNAF, and I inverted them into the other gender and humanified them, and humanoid them, and basically was at first making like a sitcom-y, but this is like in another world story. And then I fleshed out the story, I fleshed out the world more, I fleshed out the characters more. They are not carbon copies of the FNAF series, but I'm still working on that series, and I never would have been able to make it if it weren't for FNAF. So I want to thank FNAF because that series has helped me out a lot. And thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like it. I appreciate it. If you got any other, if you were also big at FNAF and want to tell me about it, tell me in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. And if you're part of crazy FNAF stuff, I also would love to hear about that. I will let you go. Bye.